Have you ever felt like life is spinning out of control, like no matter how much you plan, stress, or strive, the world throws curveball after curveball your way? Here's the truth. Most of us are caught in this endless loop, reacting to life rather than living it. But what if I told you there's a 2,000-year-old philosophy that holds the keys to flipping that script? A way to not just survive the chaos, but master it, on your terms. And no, it's not some woo-woo self-help fluff or outdated theory. It's Stoicism, reimagined for modern life. Now you might be thinking, isn't that just about staying emotionless or acting like a statue? Trust me, it's so much more. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending life doesn't sting. It's about wielding unshakable inner peace like a superpower, no matter what the world throws at you. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. Simple, actionable Stoic hacks you can start using today to cut through the noise, own your reactions, and take control of your life like never before. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed, stuck, or just plain tired of being at the mercy of the world around you, keep watching. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of Stoic strategies that can transform how you face challenges, make decisions, and find clarity in the chaos. Ready to take back control? Let's dive in. Number 1. The Discomfort Diary. Let's be honest, comfort is a trap. It feels so good, right? That cozy couch, your favorite playlist, the takeout that practically orders itself. But here's the thing, comfort, as tempting as it is, might just be holding you back. Now you're probably thinking, okay, that's dramatic. How can something as harmless as comfort be a problem? Trust me, I get it. We're wired to seek ease. But here's the twist. Growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you're a little uncomfortable, a little unsure, and yes, maybe even a little annoyed. You know that feeling when your alarm goes off and you hit snooze, just once, maybe twice, until suddenly you're rushing to make up for lost time. We've all been there. Or how about that time you chose the elevator instead of the stairs because, well, why not? These small choices add up. They create a bubble of convenience that keeps us cozy, but also keeps us stagnant. The Discomfort Diary is about bursting that bubble, one tiny, intentional choice at a time. Here's the idea. Every day you pick one thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable and you do it anyway. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. Start small. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Skip your morning coffee and feel the fog for an hour. Turn off your phone for an evening and just sit with your thoughts. Sounds a little terrifying, doesn't it? And yet, that's the point. Why does this work? It's simple. Your brain is like that overly cautious friend who always says, "Are you sure this is a good idea?" When you voluntarily choose discomfort, you train your brain to chill out. You're saying, "Hey, I've got this." And suddenly the things that once seemed overwhelming, a tough conversation, a looming deadline, a cold shower, start to feel manageable. The magic of the Discomfort Diary isn't in the discomfort itself. It's in proving to yourself that you're stronger than you think. Let me tell you about the first time I tried this. I decided to give up my car for a week and walk to work. It was only 3 miles, but it felt like 30. The first day my legs ached, my shoes rubbed, and I was convinced I'd made a horrible mistake. But by day 3, something shifted. I noticed things I'd never seen from my car, the way the morning light hit the trees, the sound of birds I'd tuned out for years. By the end of the week, I didn't just feel stronger physically, I felt proud. Proud that I'd done something inconvenient and in the process gained a fresh perspective. Here's the beauty of this practice. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about reclaiming your ability to adapt and thrive. It's about shaking up the routine and reminding yourself that you're not just capable of facing discomfort, you can own it. That's where real peace comes from, not in avoiding life's challenges, but in proving to yourself that you can rise to meet them. So, here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow, pick one small discomfort, embrace it, write it down, and then the next day, do it again. Over time, these little victories will add up to something big, a stronger, more resilient you. Because at the end of the day, your comfort zone isn't where you grow. Your strength, your peace, and your confidence, they're all waiting for you just outside it. Number 2. The ego shredder. Let me start with something bold. Your ego is lying to you. Yeah, I said it. That little voice in your head that says, you're right, they're wrong, or you have to win this argument to prove your point, is not your friend. It's holding you hostage, tricking you into thinking that defending your pride is more important than finding peace. And I know, it's tempting to cling to that sense of self-importance. It feels safe, powerful even. But here's the truth. The tighter you hold onto your ego, the heavier it gets. Think about it. Have you ever had one of those moments where you're in a heated debate, and even though you know you might be wrong, you just can't bring yourself to back down? Or maybe you've refused to admit a mistake, even when it's staring you in the face, because the thought of saying, I was wrong, feels like admitting defeat. We've all been there. It's not fun to admit, but hey, we're human. Now, here's where things get interesting. What if I told you that shredding your ego, actively dismantling it piece by piece, isn't just freeing, but also ridiculously empowering? And no, I'm not saying you have to walk around apologizing to everyone or let people trample over you. It's about taking control of your narrative by owning your flaws before they own you. Here's how it works. The next time you mess up, try this. Say out loud, you're right, I was wrong, even if it stings. Better yet, acknowledge a weakness before someone else points it out. For example, if you're late to a meeting, instead of making excuses, just say, I mismanaged my time, and I'm sorry. It's scary, I know, but you'll feel this immediate weight lift off your chest, like you've just dropped a heavy bag you didn't even realize you were carrying. Let me tell you about a time this changed everything for me. I was in a work meeting, presenting an idea I thought was genius, until someone pointed out a flaw I hadn't considered. My first instinct? Defend it to the death. But then I stopped, took a breath and said, you're right, I missed that, and it's a great point. The room went silent. I braced myself for judgment, but instead I got respect. People started collaborating to fix the flaw instead of focusing on my mistake. Owning it turned what could have been an embarrassing moment into an opportunity for growth. This isn't about humiliation or self-deprecation. It's about liberation. When you let go of the need to always be right, you make room for connection, understanding, and growth. Your ego wants you to think that admitting fault makes you weak, but the reality is the opposite. Owning your imperfections shows strength, self-awareness, and confidence. It's saying, I'm secure enough in who I am to embrace my humanity. So here's my challenge to you. Shred your ego, just a little, starting today. The next time you feel that urge to defend, justify, or argue your way out of something, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really protecting here? Chances are it's not worth the weight you're carrying. Let it go. Because this isn't about winning arguments or saving face. It's about reclaiming your peace, your growth, and your freedom. Your ego? It's a paper tiger. Tear it down and watch how much lighter you feel. Number 3. The 24-hour rule. Here's something you might not want to hear. Most of your worst decisions happen when you're emotional. Think about it. How many times have you fired off a text or email in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Or said something in an argument that didn't just cross the line but bulldozed it? We've all been there. But what if I told you that one simple habit could save you from those cringe-worthy, "Why did I do that?" moments. Enter the 24-hour rule. Now you might be thinking, what could waiting 24 hours possibly change? Trust me, it changes everything. When emotions are running high, whether it's anger, frustration, or even excitement, your brain shifts into survival mode. It's impulsive, reactive, and terrible at long-term thinking. By pausing for 24 hours, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You let the storm pass so you can respond with intention instead of reacting in the heat of the moment. Picture this. You've just received an email at work that's so unfair, so blatantly wrong. It makes your blood boil. Your fingers are hovering over the keyboard, ready to unleash the perfect rebuttal. But here's the twist. What if you didn't? What if instead you stepped away, closed your laptop, took a walk, slept on it? Imagine the difference in your response after 24 hours. Would it still be filled with fire and fury, or would it be calm, measured, and, dare I say, strategic? I learned this the hard way during a disagreement with a close friend. They'd said something that hit a nerve, and my first instinct was to confront them right away. My message was locked and loaded, dripping with sarcasm and righteous indignation, but then I remembered the 24-hour rule. I forced myself to wait, even though every fiber of my being wanted to hit send. And you know what? By the next day, I saw things differently. I wasn't as angry anymore, and I realized that my friend wasn't trying to hurt me. They were just stressed. My reply ended up being understanding instead of combative, and it saved our friendship from unnecessary damage. This rule isn't just about avoiding regret. It's about reclaiming control. When you wait 24 hours, you're telling your emotions, "You don't get to be the boss of me." It's a reminder that you are not your anger, your frustration, or your panic. You are the calm after the storm, the steady voice that rises above the noise. So the next time you feel that urge to react, whether it's to an argument, a passive-aggressive comment, or a tough decision, pause, take a breath, give it 24 hours, because this isn't about letting things slide or avoiding conflict. It's about showing up as your best, most level-headed self. It's about protecting your relationships, your reputation, and your peace of mind. Your emotions, they're temporary, but the decisions you make in their grip, those can last a lifetime. So remember, 24 hours can be the difference between regret and resolution, between reaction and respect, between chaos and calm. Make it count. Number 4, the death reflection. Let's start with something you probably avoid thinking about. You're going to die. Wait, don't click away. Stay with me. I know it sounds heavy, maybe even a little morbid, but hear me out. Confronting the reality of our mortality might just be the most empowering thing you can do for your life. It's not about being grim or fearful. It's about clarity. When you truly reflect on the fact that your time here is finite, something extraordinary happens. You start to see what really matters. We've all been there, caught up in the grind of endless to-do lists, petty arguments, or chasing things that deep down don't actually make us happy. How often do we obsess over what others think of us? Or delay things we really want to do, telling ourselves, "I'll get to it later." But what if later never comes? It's uncomfortable to think about, I get it. But discomfort has a way of cutting through the noise and forcing us to ask the hard questions. Am I living the life I want, or am I just going through the motions? Here's the strategy. Take a few moments every day, just a few, and reflect on your mortality. I know it sounds strange, but it's not about being morose, it's about focus. When you remind yourself that your days are limited, you stop wasting them. Those insecurities that hold you back, they shrink in the face of something so much bigger. The grudges you're clinging to, suddenly they seem trivial. And those dreams you keep putting off, they feel urgent in the best possible way. Let me share a moment when this hit me like a ton of bricks. A few years ago, I was stuck in a job I hated. Every day felt like a grind, and I kept telling myself, it's fine, I'll figure out something better someday. But then I lost someone close to me, someone who always talked about what they'd do someday, but never got the chance. That loss was a wake-up call I didn't know I needed. It made me realize that someday isn't guaranteed. Within weeks, I started taking small steps to change my life, updating my resume, exploring new passions, reconnecting with people I cared about. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. This reflection isn't meant to paralyze you with fear. It's meant to free you. It's about stripping away the unimportant and focusing on what truly counts. When you realize that your time is your most precious currency, you spend it more wisely. You say yes to things that light you up and no to things that drain you. You tell people you love them, not later, not when it's convenient, but now. You stop sweating the small stuff because really, who has the time for that? And here's the best part. Reflecting on death makes you appreciate life. The warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of laughter, even the mundane things you take for granted. They all feel richer, fuller, more meaningful. This isn't about living in fear of dying. It's about living fully because you know it's not forever. So I'll leave you with this. Imagine just for a moment that today was your last day. Would you be proud of how you spent it? Would you have said the things you wanted to say, done the things you've been putting off, or let go of the things weighing you down? If the answer is no, then let that be your guide. Let that discomfort push you toward a life that's bold, authentic, and unapologetically yours. Because life is short, but it's also beautiful, and it's yours to live. Number 5. The detachment detox. Let's talk about something you probably don't realize is draining you. Your attachments, not just to things, but to outcomes, opinions, and, let's be honest, control. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh great, another lecture on letting go, stay with me. This isn't about renouncing all your stuff or pretending you don't care. It's about detoxing your mind from the constant grip of needing things to go a certain way. We've all been there, right? That spiraling frustration when plans don't pan out, when someone doesn't text back, or when life throws us curveballs we didn't ask for. It's that gnawing feeling of, this wasn't supposed to happen. It's exhausting, isn't it? And the worst part is, the tighter we hold on, the more we feel like we're losing control. Here's where the detachment detox comes in. Think of it like decluttering your mind. Instead of obsessing over how things should be, you practice stepping back. Not as in giving up, but as in giving space. For yourself, for others, and for the unexpected. Imagine, just for a second, the freedom of not taking every hiccup in life personally. I get it, this sounds easier said than done. But let me give you a little perspective. You ever notice how much better things flow when you stop forcing them? Like when you're desperately trying to open a jar and it won't budge, but the moment you relax, it finally twists open. Detachment works the same way. It's not about indifference. It's about grace. Let me share a moment this clicked for me. A few months ago, I was working on a project I was sure would go viral. I poured my heart into it, stayed up late perfecting every detail, and when I hit publish, crickets. The numbers weren't what I hoped for, and I started spiraling. Was it me? Did I fail? But then I stopped. I took a breath and asked myself, why am I so attached to this outcome? I realized I'd tied my worth to something I couldn't control. The moment I let go of that attachment, the pressure lifted. I could see the project for what it was, a step, not the whole journey. This detox is powerful because it gives you back your peace. Instead of reacting to every little thing, you start responding with intention. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Instead of fuming, you think, well, I hope they get where they're going safely. Didn't get the job you wanted. Instead of spiraling, you tell yourself, this just clears the way for something better. The beauty of detachment is that it doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. You stop being at the mercy of every little thing and start owning your reactions. It's about choosing where your energy goes and reclaiming it from all the places it's been scattered. So, here's your challenge. Start small. Maybe today you let go of one thing that's been weighing on you. A grudge, an expectation, even just the need for someone to agree with you. Watch what happens when you give it space. You might just feel lighter, freer, and dare I say, unstoppable. Remember, this isn't about detaching from life. It's about showing up for it fully, without the baggage of needing everything to go your way. Because really, life is unpredictable, messy, and beautiful, and that's exactly what makes it worth living. Number 6. The social silence. Have you ever noticed how loud silence can be? Not the kind where nobody's talking, but the kind that fills a group chat when your message is left unread. Or the quiet tension in a room after someone says something awkward. Or even the deafening void of not being invited to that gathering everyone else is buzzing about. That silence can feel crushing, like it's pointing a giant neon arrow at you, screaming, "You don't belong." But here's a wild idea. What if silence isn't a problem to fix? What if it's actually a tool, one you can wield to create peace, clarity, and even power? Now, I know what you might be thinking. How can silence possibly help when it feels so isolating? Trust me, I used to feel the same way. I hated those gaps, the pauses, the moments when people didn't respond or acknowledge me. It felt like rejection wrapped in nothingness. But here's what I've learned. Not all silence is created equal. And more importantly, it doesn't have to be the enemy. We've all been in situations where silence gets awkward, like when you crack a joke and nobody laughs, or when you're the one trying to fill the air during a lull in conversation. That desperate need to fill the space? It's draining. It's like holding your breath in a room full of people, hoping someone will notice before you pass out. But what if, instead of fighting silence, you leaned into it? Here's the strategy I call the social silence. It's simple, but it's not easy. The next time silence creeps into a conversation, don't rush to fill it. Let it sit there, let it breathe. Use it as a moment to observe, to listen, or even to communicate without words. Yes, silence can communicate, and often it says more than words ever could. I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, during a team meeting at work, someone made a suggestion that was clearly not going to work. Everyone looked at me, waiting for my response, and I could feel the pressure to jump in and point out the flaws. But instead of speaking, I stayed quiet. And in that silence, something magical happened. Someone else spoke up, offering a better solution. My silence gave space for the group to think, to process, and to collaborate. It was a reminder that not every moment requires my input. But let's make this personal too. Have you ever considered using silence as a boundary? When someone says something hurtful, instead of rushing to defend yourself, you just pause. You let the weight of their words hang there, unacknowledged, refusing to give them power. That kind of silence isn't weakness, it's strength. It's saying, without saying anything, you don't control this narrative. This isn't about ghosting people or shutting down conversations. It's about reclaiming the moments where noise feels obligatory. It's about realizing you don't have to explain yourself, justify your actions, or fill every gap. Silence can be your ally in creating space for what truly matters. The beauty of social silence is that it's freeing. It strips away the need to perform, to overthink, or to constantly prove yourself. Instead, it lets you show up as you are, comfortable, confident, and completely in control. So the next time you feel that pull to fill the silence, ask yourself, does this moment really need more noise? Or could silence do the talking for you? Remember, silence isn't absence, it's presence. It's a choice. And when you learn to embrace it, you're not just holding space, you're owning it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope these Stoic hacks gave you some fresh insights and practical tools to help navigate the chaos of everyday life. If you found this video valuable, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps out. And don't forget to subscribe for more content on how you can live a more peaceful, intentional life. Know someone who's struggling with stress or overwhelm. Share this video with them. It might just be the shift they need. I'd also love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let me know how you're using Stoicism in your life or any challenges you're facing that these ideas could help with. Let's build a community where we can all learn and grow together. Remember, life is unpredictable, but with the right mindset, you can navigate anything that comes your way. Stay strong, stay focused, and take control of your peace. I'll see you in the next one.